Hello, good LFC Daytrippers. It is full-time Reds once again, the 7th one of the season. It is finished at Anfield, Liverpool 3, West Ham United 1. I'm joined by my regular co-host for tonight, Chris Brack, Kev O'Sullivan. Chris, how'd you like that?
I enjoyed that. It's good, that. Good game, to be fair. I give credit to West Ham. I thought West Ham played really well and were a right pain in the ass to play against. But yeah, all in all, can't go wrong. Second half was excellent. First half actually was fairly decent, apart from their first 10 minutes. So, all in all, happy. Second in the league, 2 points off top. Can't ask much more.
Yeah, there we go. We keep on rolling. And Kev, we don't concede first for a slight change. That made things just a little bit easier for us as watchers, didn't it?
Yeah, but look, that's a huge win. It's, coming off the Thursday night to get that first win under your belt, having made the amount of changes that we did make midweek, to come back and make loads of changes again, look as good as we did at times, and come away comfortably with 3 points against a very good side, very dangerous side on the counter. So many positives come out of that game today. So many more positives than the few negatives that are in there. And there are a couple of negatives in there, but they're not really negatives. We'll get into all of that, I'll tell you. I was just over the moon with that performance. The results take care of themselves when the performances are there.
Yeah, is this your burner, Kev?
Right?
Still saying you're looking well.
Looking good, bye.
So yeah, like you said, Kev, pretty wholesale changes from Thursday, as you expect, going Europa League back into the Premier League. 8 changes by my count made to the team. We got Allison in goal. Gomez comes in at right back. Trent still not in the squad. Better safe than sorry, as far as I'm concerned, with Trent. No need rushing him back and re-aggravating any injuries with him. So Gomez at right back, Robertson on the other side, Matip and Van Dijk. Konate gets a rest. Midfield 3 seems to be kind of the go-to midfield for us so far in the league this year, of Szoboszlai, McAllister, and Jones. And up front, I was a little surprised by it. After playing the full 90 on Thursday in Austria, Darwin Nunez and Luis Diaz go again, and Mo Salah is Mo Salah. He's there. So, Chris, any surprises for you in that?
I thought Konate might start, because I assume that's why we gave him so many minutes, but maybe started just to go with continuity of, we'll put Van Dijk back in, and that's enough changes for the back line. I wasn't totally surprised to see Gakpo and Diaz, because they're just both in. I mean, all of us attacks in really good form, but I just feel against West Ham, I think they wouldn't like playing against the pace of a Diaz and the pace and the physicality of a Nunez. I kind of felt that it's a bit of horses for courses. Whereas perhaps when we play Spurs away, perhaps that's more of a game where you do want a Gakpo dropping in deep and linking up play and flooding the midfield. So all in all, I was pretty happy. I was kind of hoping Trent would be on the bench, but like you said, no point risking it. I mean, if you put Konate in that starting lineup, Trent, you're 2 away from your best, what you would argue would be Liverpool's best lineup. How many times that will play together, I don't know, because as we saw with the side that won the Champions League, only ever played together once. So it's just showing a good squad game. And look, we've still got Thiago to come back as a squad option at some point. So no, I was fairly happy with it. I looked at their lineup. I thought their lineup looked pretty tasty. Bowen, it was always good against us. I was intrigued to see how Antonio did with his pre-match team talk. We'll come into that later. It was brilliant for Liverpool, and the man ghosted the whole game. And to be honest, I was just intrigued to watch Paqueta again, because he's ridiculously good. You can't deny it. He was brilliant for them.
Yeah, it's a definite sign. Somebody in the chat there had said that you could see why Man City were interested in signing Lucas Paqueta. I thought he had a pretty phenomenal game in terms of controlling the ball in the midfield. What about you, Kev? Anything from that lineup jump out from you, either for us or for them?
No, I was just looking forward to seeing the play. I suppose the one that you'd look at would be Joel Matip coming in at centre back, and you think, okay, this is going to be a bit of a test for him, because while he's good in the air, he's normally good at reading the game. If Joe Gomez starts drifting into midfield, then that's a lot of space for Big Joel to have to cover. But other than that, excited to watch it. It's one of those 11s that you look at and you go, this lot could do absolutely anything. I have no idea what they're going to do. And they're the kind of games where you're like, all right, let's just put you a bit forward in the seat and get into it. Like, I just couldn't wait for kickoff. I was delighted with it.
Yeah, it's so nice to have that feeling back. I mean, I've had it the whole season. That's just my natural optimism, but it's being rewarded by the performances that we've seen in the first 7 games of the season so far. Is that you got to just be buzzing coming into match day now, because whatever lineup we choose to put out, whoever's on the pitch, you just know they're going to be able to put in a performance. And it doesn't take us very long. Like I said, we don't concede early. West Ham do have a couple of chances, though. I mean, 6-minute, Chris, come to you on this one. How good is our keeper? I mean, Allison down to his right with a strong hand from that header from Souček.
He's so good that actually when he said that, I was like, who's marking him? I was like, good job, Allison saved. And when you watch Matty you forget, that's a brilliant save. I think he's got that good now. I think me and Kev joke about this now. We have to correct ourselves going, that's a worldie. Because we're so used to going, I saved it. Because it's low, it's in the corner, it's a good header. It's everything you'd want from the attacker to do. And listen, it's a great save. Thinking, well, that might be the wake-up call we need, because I think that's where you also need to ride your luck a little bit, which is if you get that bit of luck where it falls for you and your keeper pulls you out of it, is make sure you take advantage of it. Last year, we were rubbish at doing that. We'll just give him another chance. But, listen, that's why you pay the big money for the best keeper around, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was a few moments that West Ham had in that first half. I'll come to you, Kev, on the second one, where we just lose the ball around the midfield mark and they turn and they break quickly. And I mean, the second one, Souček puts in a lovely, lovely cross for Michail Antonio, and he just about headed it to David Moyes. He was so off target. I mean, were you feeling a little tense about the defense at that point there, giving up 2 chances in the first 12 minutes?
Not really, because, like I said, they're a good side. They're very good at certain things, and good sides will create chances in games. It's how you react to it when they do, and it's a strong point for them. Getting the ball wide, putting balls into the box, try to make something happen from there, looking for second balls and whatever. They're always going to get chances. You're going to need your keeper at times like that. That was just a shocking miss by Antonio, but I always felt that they were likely to score. It was just one of those games that, even at the time, I thought, even if we get ahead, this is the kind of game you won't be comfortable until you're at least 2 goals ahead. When you get 2 ahead of sides like this, then they really have to overcommit. West Ham, their strategy is always going to be, right, you have the ball, we'll counter you. They're very good at the break, and they've got players to play that way. Their players are literally bought with that kind of style in mind. You give West Ham the ball and say, okay, you dominate the ball and you have 65-70% possession. They don't know what to do. So when you're playing against a side like that, when you're playing against a side like that,
Newcastle found that, aren't they?
Yeah, you have to look at it. If they have 35%, I think they're for the end of the first half, their stats something like 35% possession, but that's 7 efforts, and including the goal, they were half decent, So, and with the set pieces that they have and everything that goes with that, the dangers that they have with height and physicality and everything like that, you always have to be sharp. You always have to be on it. So I wasn't worried, but I thought, whatever you do, if you go behind, don't go too behind, because they can sit in and make life an absolute nightmare for you. They're almost one of these sides at the minute, I think, that, and you always come up against them where you don't want to go behind to them, because if they go behind to them, they can give you all sorts of problems, because they're very good and they're very willing at defending. They love defending. They love being in the shape and they love working for each other. And Moyes has drilled them to be very, very good at it. So yeah, it was like, yeah, you ride your luck at times with stuff like that. But if you're going to be conceding chances, they're the kind of chances you don't mind conceding. Long diagonal crosses coming from wide where everyone sees it coming. Keeper can generally set himself to where he thinks the ball is going to go to. So if you're going to be giving up kind of chances, you don't mind those ones so much. It's like someone having pot shots from 30 yards against Allison. Crack on.
Yeah.
If you beat it, I want to watch it, because it's going to be up there with goal of the season if you beat him from those kind of distances, So it's like that.
Yeah, I think that's bang on. And I mean, after Antonio has that kind of shanked header, I thought Matip put him in his pocket for the rest of the game. I was really impressed. We got lots of comments in here about Mikel Antonio.
We'll come to him because he could do that. Just while we talk about Newcastle, sorry, I don't want to bring the mood down, but we do want to pass our thoughts on to Sheffield United player Maddie Cusack, who sadly passed away last week, aged 27. They're playing Newcastle today in the women's League One. So they've laid flowers. We don't know why she passed away, but she had 100 appearances in the championship, only 27. Sadly, that news came through earlier this week. So I just wanted to take the opportunity to sort of pass on our condolences because it's 27. That's no age, that.
Yeah, no,
that's
far too young, and yeah, it's. I'm sure there'll be moving tributes at the men's game here kicking off in a couple of minutes for that player as well too. So. After those two early chances from West Ham, they seem like they're coming at us again. Another hooked in long ball. Luis Diaz wins the header. Chris, he runs a little 1-2 with Darwin Nunez, takes off down the wing. You can see Darwin. He's pointing where he wants the ball to go. He's telling Luis, put it there, put it there. Not the best pass, comes off of his heels. Defender's caught on his heels a little bit. Mo cuts in. As Stonewall penalties come. Mo dinks it around the defender and he just gets absolutely.
It's a Stonewall penalties come, but we've seen with Mo Salah, I'm surprised he didn't get booked. Because let's be honest, do you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, mate, watch him give Mo a booking now for being fouled. But yeah, that's fine. Be honest, did you fancy him? I did.
Yeah.
And I'll go back to it. I'll try and keep it clean because it's pretty much there. But I like the fact Mo Salah's just going to the technique of, I'm just going to smash it dead hard. And like what Kev said, keep against the right way. It's a good height for him. But you know what? I think with Mo at the moment, I think that's what he's going to do for the next few penalties. He's just smash him really hard and then get a bit of confidence back up. But listen, scoring first, kind of what you want. I mean, I think that's now Mo Salah's 10th goal in 13 games against West Ham. He's also got 3 assists in that. So he quite likes playing against West Ham. I mean, he quite likes playing against most clubs, to be fair. And he's now scored in 12. He's now got a goal involvement in 12 consecutive Premier League games. Mo Salah is now the only person to do that twice. So not only is he breaking everybody else's records, he's pissing about and breaking his own just for shits and giggles. So the man's a machine. And listen, people who say, sell him for the 150 million, I'm telling you, keep Mo Salah as long as you can keep Mo Salah. Quite frankly, if Liverpool are going to get the deal now to get him a 1-year extension, rolling extension, just do it. Yeah. I'd rather Mo Salah's legs go in our time because he's already started to adapt his game where he's not as reliant on his pace. And I want to see the next version of Mo Salah on Liverpool's watch. I just think he's going to become the creator supreme. May go down to 15, 20 goals a season, but he may be looking at 15, 20 assists. I just think that's what he's going to turn into.
I'd have thought about it that he might go a little bit like Benzema in his advanced age at Real Madrid, where he just becomes that facilitator for the other young attackers to come in and play off of him. And I'm totally on board with that because, I mean, Benzema had a pretty understated career, but there's no denying what he did. Paul Gormley asking a question there. Kev, come to you. Said, did anyone else not think why wasn't he sent off for the foul for the penalty? Clear that up for us.
Yeah, it's double jeopardy. It's similar to Virgil's one. If that happened to Virgil when he was inside, if it was inside the box, it would have just been a penalty. But because, like with this one, double jeopardy comes into play. That's the only reason why he wasn't sent off. A few years ago, before that rule change came in, he would have been.
Yeah.
It would have been a straight red and a penalty, which is harsh. It ruins the game. It wasn't the case that he was malicious or anything like that. He tried to go for the ball.
He didn't see Mo. He didn't see Mo coming in. Let's be fair. So you'd have been. I never liked that rule anyway. So I think that's fair. Unless you do like a ridiculous, no attempt at the ball, just kick them 6 foot in the air, then fair enough. I think that could still be a red card because the rule is you have to make what they would say a reasonable attempt for the ball, and he just got done by pace.
Yeah. I think if he would have just reached and pulled Mo down by the shoulders without trying to play the ball, I think in that case he might have been sent off and conceded the penalty. But I mean, he's clearly trying to make a defensive maneuver for the ball. He just doesn't quite get there. I mean,
I still think, for the record, that was an absolutely horrific penalty. It was smashed in the hope that the keeper would go the other way. He disguised it well. He's disguised it with his run up really well. But that was literally in the middle of the opposite half of the goal and a perfect height for a diving keeper.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant penalty because it goes in, but my God, that was an absolute horrific penalty.
Thor said it looks like Salah does the Frank Lampard technique of penalties, who was very similar, which was head down and drive it like a train. And Lampard was good at disguising it, but none of Lampard's were placed, so they were hit them as hard as he could. And I mean, to be fair to Frank Lampard, he didn't miss many, so I'm all right with that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, look, I mean, you take him, and as long as he's scoring them, he'll keep taking them. That's all well and good. But I watched the Harry Kane penalty for Bayern Munich yesterday, and every single penalty is with pace and in the corner. Every single one.
Kane's probably got the best penalty technique, and it's ridiculous. Because it's top corner every time, like a missile. They're ridiculous.
I think Salah's got capable of being that accurate and being that good. So look, I just hope it's something that he gets confidence back into his game about and starts smacking them into where keepers, if they do go the right way, it doesn't make a blind bit of difference because they're hit with such power that you're not getting there anyway. You know, but you take them, you're 1-0 up. Happy fucking days.
Yeah, absolutely. So
ultra nitpicky.
That's okay. Hey, you can do that when you win, and it's not quite as sour.
You also know that's how good a performance it is. That's how good a performance it is that we're actually going, oh, he could have took his penalty a bit nicer. That would have helped. That's it. when you get to that level of nitpickiness, you know, in general, the performance is actually pretty good, to be fair to them.
Yeah. So Ross here, he says, how about that man Gomez? Hell of a game. Fella was doing his Trent impression in midfield, but defending better. And yeah, that was one of the things coming into the game because, you know, Gomez didn't really, in his other couple starts playing in the right back, he didn't really flourish in that inverting role to play the box midfield. I thought he was much better in that today, and his defending was excellent. Like they had almost zero threat coming down their left-hand side. There was one point about a half an hour in where Gomez gets the ball in the middle of the park, does a little dribble, gets past two guys and starts driving forward. It just makes me want to see him score so damn badly. I mean, there's one move where Szoboszlai Diaz and Salah link up, and the ball just kind of pops up on Mo, and his shot comes off of his shin instead of the top of his boot, goes a little bit wide. Then around about 5 minutes to go before the half, West Ham start getting a little sustained bit of pressure. And the header comes in, or ball comes in, headed out for a corner, another corner, and Jared Bowen. I mean, Kev, that's a brave header for Jared Bowen. I mean, Soufal puts in a gorgeous cross, just an absolutely gorgeous cross, and Bowen's first to it against Van Dijk and heads home.
I'm convinced the Soufal mishit that cross. Those are the type of crosses from a right back that go behind the centre back, over the top of the centre back for the forward coming in at the back post. They very rarely, it's very rare for the cross to come in from a right back in front of where the two centre backs would be for a run to come in front of the centre backs. Very rare, and I don't think Soufal meant it. So I think that's probably half the reason why Van Dijk is on his back foot, where Matip is gone to follow Antonio to mark him out of it at the near post. Robertson almost blocks the cross off anyway. So once the cross comes in front of Virgil and he's on the back foot anticipating that it's going to go in behind him, Bowen can see all of this because the game is in front of him. So he makes a brilliant run across Virgil and really brave with the header. And I'm almost glad that Virgil wasn't half a yard closer, because if Virgil was half a yard closer, he'd have kicked the head off him. And odds are he'd have been sent off for violent conduct. I'm nearly convinced that if Virgil was that close and a diving header comes in like that it would have been a penalty or possibly a red card. Look, I just think it's a really good finish. It's a really good goal. It's a well-worked goal. They got the ball wide, got the cross in. It was a good run across Virgil. He was brave and got the header in. I think nothing Alisson could do about it.
I think if you're Jurgen Klopp and the coaches, that I don't think it's the Virgil thing when looking back at it. It is could you not have a bit quicker to get the cross? Because to be fair, Robertson goes from centre back and he bombs it over, but he doesn't get over the quicker. And for me, Szoboszlai is probably the only sort of nitpick I can give about him because he was brilliant, which was he wasn't exactly breaking his neck to get over there to break the cross. It was a bit half-hearted. And that's where I think the problem is. It stopped the supply. Because, like you said, if he connects with him, he kicks him, Virgil may think, of mommy toes, maybe I get it from quicker, but it's a brave header because it's an odd one to go with your head. He thought he just swung his leg at it. Like it's an odd one to go with your head.
It was such a good header, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you can't take anything away from the header because it's right into the corner.
He's such a good player, Bowen, as well. Though. I'm amazed West Ham kept hold of him as long as they have because I think he's really good.
He had that he had his breakout season, and we were kind of tentatively linked with him, and then he had a bit of a down year, and I think that kind of cooled a little interest on him, and that in the league, and that allows West Ham to keep a hold of him because if he'd have had another strong season in the league on top of that, he probably would have been off somewhere else. So he's one of those.
I thought it was against the run of play as well.
Yeah, I thought Crossbar helped Bowen. Yeah, I thought Crossbar helped Bowen because he got into that habit of doing the dirt count thing of scoring big goals and big moments. And to be fair, he often does that. So listen, I don't know how you guys feel. Half time I was a little frustrated because I thought actually we played all right. We've played particularly poorly, but on the balance of play, I was thinking 1-1's probably fair because they've had 3 big chances. We've had a few big chances. It's probably about fair.
I thought we responded to their goal extremely well. I mean, the next thing a note that I have written down after they score is Curtis Jones putting the ball in from an offside position from just a delightful run by him. Great ball by Szoboszlai, and that's becoming kind of his signature goal. We all thought it would be cutting in and putting it top bins against West Ham, but that arriving back post first time putting the ball in, but he's offside.
I don't know why that VAR took so long because first replay you go, it looks off. It wasn't even like it wasn't that tight. It wasn't that tight. It was like, but good move, good reaction to it.
Yeah, I think the thing is with the TV cameras and the VAR cameras, the way they line everything up, that could have been a lot closer than what you think. It's just whenever they done the lines, that must have been a lot closer than what we thought. And it's literally the difference between starting your run half a second earlier. But I think it was it was a lovely finish.
Jones' face said it all, didn't it? Because he ran so as soon as the cameras, as soon as the flag goes up, he looks back at subs like it's that kind of look at I think I'm off.
Like, I shouldn't have this much free space this close to goal. I must be off.
I think he knew himself.
Yeah. So we get into halftime. I think everything's all pretty much going all right. West Ham were always going to pose a threat. This isn't an absolute garbage team. I mean, I think their league position from last season was maybe a little false. And I mean, you look at the quality of their starting 11, you look at the quality that they have to bring off of the bench, and West Ham have one of the stronger squads in the league. So 1-1 at halftime. We're not making any silly defensive mistakes. We're marking Antonio out of the game, and he's usually their biggest, point of threat for them. It's all well and good. No changes at halftime. We come back. I'll come to you on this one, Chris. 7 minutes into the second half, and we're going to get to good Darwin moments, but unmarked on the penalty spot
could have fucking killed him. Honestly, God. It was. It was like great player. I thought, and I was celebrating. Oh, what a! Oh, wow! It wasn't like a bit wide. It was very, very wide. And I was like. And the bizarre thing is, and we've all said this, Darwin, when he's instinctive, he's lethal. When he has time to think about it, you worry about it. That was the most instinctive finish. I think it was the worst finish I've ever seen. It'd be like, I was trying to go, and you can't help that little voice in the back of your head going, we saw a lot this last year. We missed a big chance like that, and it would cost us. And to be fair, luckily for Bowen, he couldn't head the ball. He couldn't head the ball in any other direction. He headed it straight to Alisson. Because within a minute they needed to score, but he should be hitting the target. There's no excuses. We all like Darwin, and actually I thought his all-round game in general was actually really good. But I had put my house in it to bury that. Which, when we talk about ridiculous Darwin later, it's unreal because the one he scores is the most difficult finish he's got to do. But I think
I looked at that goal. I looked at that goal, and I honestly don't think he missed it by that much. I think the ball hits, the corner, the post behind the goal.
Oh, stanchion. Yeah.
And then it flies because he absolutely rockets it. Because I can't think of any other way why the ball ends up going in that direction. It was one of those. The move deserved the finish. The move was some of the best football that we played in the game. It was so controlled and so deliberate, and the passing was so accurate.
I'll be honest, and that's the sort of move we see City do, isn't it? That's the sort of move you see City do.
When Mo held, I think it was Aguard off, and literally just rolled him. It was like he was playing in the park with the kids. It was that slow. It was like, I'm just going to walk around. I'm going to hold you there. I'm walking with the ball, and then I'm going to pass it to Darwin, and Darwin is just going to slap it home. That's how slow it was. But that's how it was like West Ham were watching this happen to them. Like, oh my God, wow. Oh my God, I can't believe, wow. And they were just like spellbound. Didn't have a clue what was going on.
I generally thought when he hit it, I couldn't hear the roar, I thought my stream had glitched. That's how much I thought he scored. I then realised he fucking missed. And I was like, oh, I just thought my stream had glitched. And I thought, it's you missed the goal, but you'll hear the commentary in a second, it'll catch up. But no, he's missed. Oh, yeah.
But
like
I'll tell you what, when they went up the other end,
that
was a scary moment because there is absolutely no way in hell that Jarrod Bowen in the middle of the 6-yard box should ever have a free header.
No.
That was poor all around. Whatever about the delivery and everything, there is absolutely no way in hell that man should be getting a free. It's like Diogo Jota getting a free header in the middle of the box.
Yeah.
I mean, never ever.
We're getting the order wrong.
Really
Bowen's chance actually comes before Darwin's chance. No, I got that wrong. There's another chance in there. Yeah, I'm an idiot. It's Darwin's chance.
Get the cat.
Then Bowen's chance. Yeah, the cat's asleep. They have another one. They swing in. Van Dijk. No, we swing a ball in from Szoboszlai. Van Dijk at the back post, heads it back across goal. That's our set play routine.
Yeah.
We very clearly look for Virgil van Dijk across the goal at the back post to head the ball back across goal. Just nobody there to run onto at that time. But by this point, we've settled into possession. It seems to be something in the second half so far this season. We come out in the second half, we get the ball, we keep it, we cycle it around at the back. It was a bit slow and pedestrian for me. And I mean, talk about slow and pedestrian, Kev. Darwin's goal. Everybody's just kind of standing still.
Darwin's goal, because I'll be honest, I looked at McAllister today, I thought he was good without being very good at anything. I thought his tackling was good. His vision was okay. He was knocking the ball around safe enough. I thought his general all-around play in a position that he's still learning was good. And then you see the angle from behind the goal. And he gets the ball in the middle of the park. No one comes near him because they know he's going to pass it up side to side. That's what he's done all game. He's done nothing else all game but pass it side to side and redistribute it and bring everyone else into play. And it was as if Rory McIlroy put a ball down in the middle of a pitch in Anfield and decided to take out his chip iron and go ping with the ball, inch perfect. Darwin's eyes are fixed on him and looking at him all the time. And he's like, you're going to do it, aren't you? And he just pings it. The most perfect chip that you will ever see. This perfect chip lob pass onto his foot, and he just caresses it with his right foot into the opposite corner. It was a beautiful goal. A beautiful goal.
It's not what you expect from Darwin, is it? You expect Darwin to crack it because that's what we all know him for. That was
it's the kind of finish I'd have expected out of Cody Gakpo.
Yeah,
it's a kind of a Cody Gakpo finish. It was a beautiful goal. Cannot understate enough how good this goal is. I think it's one of the best goals I've seen this season.
I was going to say, of all of our attackers, if you said who would finish it like that, I would honestly say Darwin would be fifth choice for how they would finish it. I would say Mo could probably do that finish. I could see Jota doing that. Diaz maybe not. But there's definitely three of the attackers you think would do that type of a controlled, caressed finish, which is great because then you go, what's another string to his bow? It's clearly something they work on. And it's lovely to see because before we had McAllister, the only person in our squad who could do that was Thiago. But Thiago is not available enough. Whereas now we're in that lovely position and we're going, we've still got Thiago to come back in this side, which is, oh, wow, that's quite an exciting option to throw in. We're not desperate for him. He's an option.
There is one other player that can play a pass like that, because there was two things this goal reminded me of. One, the finish was something you see Erling Haaland do 25 times last season. Yeah. That get up high, use your size, stretch the leg up there, first time ball, boom, it's in the back of the net. But I thought the whole setup for the goal was very reminiscent of Trent to Darwin last year against Newcastle. Same thing.
Good shout.
Yeah. Darwin in between the two center halves, minding the offside line, looking at who has the ball, making that eye contact with the ball carrier. It was Trent last season. It was McAllister today, and just a perfect dink ball over the top. The Newcastle one, he controls it and then puts it in. This one, he just puts it into the back of the net. But I mean, fantastic. As somebody in the chat, I think it might have been Hannah, was saying that Darwin's not letting his misses get to him this year. And I mean, talk about responding from a bad miss 7 minutes later, instinct, boom, it's in the back of the net. And he seems like he is absolutely loving playing for Liverpool at the moment. He is loving the love he's getting from the fans. And B, he's taking his chance. I think he is really grabbing that number 9 shirt and making his name the first name on the team sheet for the big games, because he's putting the ball in the back of the net.
It gets to the point now where, and this is a nice problem to have, where I've got one of my friends in messaged me going, and we'll come to in a minute, what do you think about José? He said he can't be happy that he's going to be on the bench and just coming off for 10 minutes. And you're going, yeah, he probably isn't. But then you're going like, but you're not starting. Darwin's in form. Mo's in form. Diaz is electric on the left wing. I mean, you sat there with Gakpo and Jota going, to be honest, you haven't actually done that really anything wrong to not be playing. It's lovely to be in this situation where we go like, oh wow, look what we can bring on, and you're not really fussed which combination starts, because you're generally going, well, one of these will work, and if it doesn't, we'll bring one of the other two on. It's quite a nice problem to have.
Yeah, it's who's that? Jono there in the chat says we have the best attacking depth in Europe, and I don't know all the European teams, but I think it's pretty hard to argue against. And he also says bringing Diaz and Darwin off and bringing on Jota and Gakpo should be illegal, demoralizing for other teams seeing that. And I mean, I'll say
it again. This reminds me of the Man United side of Pep Liverpool's title in the 08-09 season, where they'd have Ronaldo. You know, you look at the side, go, oh yeah, the United side do mention that. Oh, they're bringing on Berbatov and Tevez. Oh shit. I've just kept Rooney and Ronaldo quiet. Oh, shit, I've got to keep Berbatov and Tevez quiet as well. And then you look at the Liverpool side and go, we've got David Ngog and Nabil El-Zar. Oh, shit. You know what I mean? That was... and I sort of feel Liverpool, but I think Liverpool are getting like that. Whereas like City are probably the next closest where they can go, well, if Haaland's not working, or bring on Julian Alvarez, where everyone goes, oh, shit, because he's really good. I definitely think we're getting into that mould now where what we can bring off the bench for midfield and attack is really going to start to intimidate sides. It's almost like demoralising before the game starts, going, "Oh Jesus Christ, look what's coming on! If we don't keep these out, they're going to bring him on. Nothing worse."
Well, so hopefully that leads to us refinding that mojo where teams are half defeated before they even kick the ball to start with, especially at Anfield. Because I mean, I think this is one loss in 44 games now at Anfield. So we're starting to make home a fortress again. That COVID awfulness of 6 straight home losses is behind us. And I mean, you look at, we've still got Thiago to come back to that bench. We've still got Trent to come back into the starting lineup, who is probably our most important player with this 3-3 formation.
Ben Doak's not getting in the squad, and he's an exciting prospect to have. And you go like, I can't get him on the bench. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's great. Here's a comment here from Dom of the Cop On podcast and contributor to the show and many other shows as well too. You're a busy man, Dom. He says we need to bin Captain Chaos. Darwin is the Lord of Havoc. That's
I like that. Oh, I like that.
That's like the title that Jibril Cisse had when he bought that place, wasn't it? He was the Lord of something. So
he was the Lord of Project.
Yeah, there you go. Lord of Havoc sounds better. Before we get through some of the substitutions, just a few things I picked out. There was another unbelievable ball that Mo Salah played to Luis Diaz. It was just a little too far in front of him. Areola was able to get there first, but the passing vision of Mo Salah is just incredible. I was so happy with the effort that Darwin Nunez was putting in, getting back on defense. his knock on him last season of he doesn't quite understand the game, the system and the pressing triggers and all that. I think a lot of that stuff is behind us now. I think he's really acclimatized to the team, having that full preseason. He was there from day one. He's working on it. I'm very, very happy to see that happening because he offers something so dynamic and threatening going forward that if he can tick off all the boxes on the team game, out of possession and in defense, then we've got some player on our hands. Game kind of slows.
He got the Jurgen fist pump. When he ran back and tackled back, you saw the Jurgen fist pump. That was the biggest cheer he did all day because I think for him, that's what he wants. He goes, I think in Jurgen's mind, they go, that's buying into my team ethos. That's what I need. The whole scoring goals and, so I know you can do that. I've got plenty of lads who can do that. I need you to buy into the team ethic. So, I think you can see with Klopp, they're going, it's clicking now. He's clicking to what I need him to do. And great, it's what we want.
Yeah. Well, so, we get to 15 minutes to go, and West Ham ring the first changes. 4-0 for Souček, and 2 African Antelope in the form of Kudus come on for Mikel Antonio. And let's just have a little Antonio chat. Who wants to go on Antonio? Chris?
Can I go? Because we talked about this on the Wednesday night show. I said on the Wednesday night show to Kev and Luke, and I said, my opinion is, if you're a current active playing footballer for the Premier League, you should not be doing your own podcast where you're slagging off over professional football and giving it the big I am. Because 1, it's unprofessional. And 2, all he's doing, he's getting his TalkSport persona ready for when he retires. Basically, all I would say to it, and I said at the time, was that Tony said, you better have the game of your life at Anfield where you batter the Virgil van Dijk and Matip, score a brace, and just look like an absolute world beater. You basically were a ghost. The whole game, meek, mild, all talk, all hype, no action. Basically, as I think Hannah rightly pointed out, he should have took a leaf out of Jared Bowen's book, which is shut your mouth until you're talking on the pitch. Talk about it later. Because if he thinks that side's going to finish above Liverpool for top 4, I'm all for bigging your side up, but you just set yourself up for a fall, basically. And you basically did Liverpool's team talk for them. And I'll be honest, I think Kudus is a better player anyway, and it wouldn't surprise me in 3 to 4 months' time, Antonio sitting on the bench, watching Kudus doing what he should be doing. So I thought it was poetic justice, and to be honest, you could see it coming a mile off. So it was quite funny, I thought. Sorry, Kev, you have your say now.
Pile on, Kev.
Yeah, I'm not going to pile in. I'm just going to look. I'm looking at some of the comments. Madge Apples is karma for Antonio. Robert Gerrard, he's a donkey. Someone says you're American, Matt, but we know you.
Nah, we cleared that
up. We cleared that up.
Newcastle's
on. It was silly. I understand these players, and this is a new platform for players to voice their opinions on certain things, and they've seen the success that some almost retired players have had. Thinking of the keeper who went to Wrexham, I can't remember.
Ben Foster. But literally, it was last year of his career. I didn't agree with that either, to be fair. I didn't agree with that either, personally.
But I can see why someone like him in the lower leagues, who's had a career, is doing what he's doing. Fine, no problem. But it's just absolutely stupid. He'll learn a lesson from it, hopefully, and he doesn't do it again. Because actually, I'll be honest, I actually quite like Mikel Antonio. Whenever I remember seeing an interview with him on Soccer Saturday, going back a good while, and he seems like someone. He's come up through the leagues. He's done it the hard way. I think he was playing Sunday League football at one stage.
He was,
yeah. So he knows what it's like to be on the other side of it, and to come up and have absolutely nothing. And playing football just for the love of it. So at the end of the day, I've got plenty of respect for him as a player. And I think he will be one of these people who make a good pundit at the end of it, at the end of their careers. But get to the end of your career before you open your gob. David Moyes should know better, to be honest.
But also, if you're one of his teammates, you'd be kicking them up in training going, seriously, do you want to poke the bear anymore? They're on good form, and you want to piss off Mo Salah, Dominic Szoboszlai. It's going to be hard enough as it is. And also, just to be clear, our manager's never won at Anfield, which is already a thing that's going around that he wants to end. But now you're making him not making it 20 in a row a problem. thanks for that. You've just made a difficult job more difficult. It's just like, it's almost like not seeing through your consequences, which, you know, I'll be honest, surprisingly, actually, look, Kudus was when he came on, was actually surprisingly quiet. I was surprised he actually didn't come on earlier, because I think he's good. I think he's a good sign about him. I think he'd be really good for West Ham.
Yeah, West Ham will take points off of, traditional top 6 teams this year. There's just absolutely no doubt about it. And Mikel Antonio will end up bagging his pretty standard 10 goals this season that he seems to get. He can be a handful for some defenders. Like, I can see Mikel Antonio giving Manchester United's whoever is fit to play center half for them just an absolute runaround. But our first change, Gravenberch comes on.
Yeah, just pick the butcher up and do that to him. There we go. After the way.
Gravenberch comes on for Curtis Jones. Chris, what'd you make of Curtis Jones? I thought he had a good game again.
Yeah, he's very genuine Wijnaldum. He's the perfect cog in the machine. He does what you need on the left-hand side. Keeps it simple. Gets his tackles in. But now he's had a couple of years doing the genuine defensive side of it. He's now also doing what we know Curtis is good at, which is late runs at the back post, crossing, getting shots in. All round, look, my thing with Curtis Jones was never his ability. It was always he couldn't stay fit. He couldn't stay fit for more than 3 games, so you couldn't plan for him. So then he was only getting bit part rules. Since he's kept himself fit and the club have found a way of managing his fitness, is he on to like 13, 14 appearances now since the system came in place? Mm-hmm. Do you know what? It actually gets to the point where I'd be surprised if he's not starting games. So we'll Tottenham away next week. To me, Curtis Jones starts every week. Curtis Jones is, him and Domo are the first 2 days on the team sheet. And then it's a question of do you want to go McAllister or Endo for the defensive role? I don't think it's a debate. When Thiago's back fit, he's going to enjoy the bench for a little bit. And that's a nice place to be. So I was happy with him. He just looked like he ran himself to the ground, which is, I'm all right with that. Anyway, bigging on Ryan Gravenberch is a lovely thing to have as well on your side, So, no, I'm really happy with Curtis Jones. Happy for a while. So it's great to see he's finally other people who perhaps give him got a lot of unfair stick are starting to go, actually, yeah, do you know what? Maybe actually he's all right. Maybe it's not that he's in the side because he's scouts. He's in the side because he's good. Do you know what I mean? So
it's Curtis Jones is doing his own changing doubters to believers, because there's been a lot of people over the last couple seasons that had a lot of negative to say about Curtis Jones, but I think he's really starting to find his form there. By that point, we've got an all-new midfield 3 on the pitch. All 3 midfielders bought in the summer with McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Gravenberch on for us. Then we do our pretty standard swap of the forwards up top. Gakpo and Jota come on for Darwin and Diaz, who just great games from the 2 forwards as well, Kev. I mean, you can't really ask for much more. Like Darwin Nunez, that's another top game.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say about Darwin in the first half is, and it's not his fault, it was more the other players around him. They needed to get him involved a bit more. He just didn't seem to be getting on the ball enough. But other than that, I thought his all-around play was good. His hold-up play was good. His distribution when he got it and laid it off and went again, happy enough, took his finish brilliantly. Missed a sitter, happens. But yeah, look, he can be really happy with the work that he did. Luis Diaz was always a thorn in the side. He'll come up against better fullbacks than Kufal and give him absolute torrid time. But no, I thought he was really good. I think there's more gears to his game for sure. I think there was an argument actually, and I don't know if anyone caught it, because that one where Salah's pass into him, he slightly misses. He's literally just off getting the ball, but the keeper caught him. On another day, there's a question there. I don't think it's a penalty. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if that's Diaz almost getting to the ball, but getting a touch on his right back after the ball is gone, it's a free kick.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things. In the box, it's not a foul. Outside the box, it's a foul. Yeah. But yeah, no, happy enough with him. The only thing that I'd say on the substitutions, I was surprised Gravenberch was the first one. That's a big call. Given the state of the game that we were in, it was 2-1. They were still a dangerous side on the break. That's a big show of faith in Gravenberch to come on for Jones, given the responsibility that you're asking him to lock down that left-hand side.
You mean instead of Endo?
No, instead of the forwards. I thought he would change the forwards first and left the midfield alone, and maybe made the midfield change a little bit later because they were playing fine. You know, it wasn't as if they were looking leggy or anything like that. You know, I just thought to make that change first and for it to be him over Endo, I thought, yeah, okay, Jurgen really rates it, or he must have trained really well. They're really happy with what he's done so far. And all credit to him. I thought he was really good when he came on. He looked lively. He looked really good defensively. Not as rash as what he has been in previous outings at Bayern, where he's been very rash in the tackle. You know, lunging into for balls that he shouldn't be in bad areas, giving away silly fouls. And there was one instance in these after he came on in our box when he cleared the ball, that he just got those long levers in and nicked the ball away, and calmly played it back to Robertson and brought the ball, and we brought the ball out. I thought that's very good. Pick this up. Yeah, it's little things like that. You're thinking, yeah, you're picking this shit up really, really good, really quick for someone who's been in the door 5 minutes.
I think it's us because he knows because he also knows he's going to get game time.
Yeah, I think it's confidence. It's confidence, and he knows that the manager trusts him. That's
Newcastle
and luckily,
by the way.
And luckily, it seems like Ronald Koeman has decided to run a personal vendetta campaign against Gravenberch, and he's being left out of the next round of internationals. So he gets to stay in Liverpool, continue training with us. So I'm all good with that. We get a late corner, 84th minute. Robertson decides to swing one in. Chris, Diogo Jota just scores goals.
It does, and that's a show. That's clearly, I mean, again, was saying it's clearly a routine they're working on, which is Van Dijk headed back to where it came from, and Jota doing his Robbie Fowler impression. I just ended up tapping in, lads. That's what I do. And apparently, according to the commentators, that is the first time this season West Ham conceded from a set piece. So all in all, David Moyes, 20th loss at Anfield, which you won't like, and they've conceded a set piece, which you'll hate even more. So all in all, pretty good. It's quite nice we bring on Diogo Jota. He's going, you just come and just do a tapping. That's all he does. It's great, isn't it?
Rounded off a brilliant performance. Virgil in the opposition box won a lot of headers.
Yeah,
you know, he was
three
really
or four. Yeah,
yeah. He was. That's going to be such a weapon this season because West Ham are physically a big side. You know, and I thought for him to be that dominant in their box with not having the intention to score. You know, the intention is definitely to bring others in, and they're all sniffing and looking for it. And not once did I feel threatened that they would get something on the counter. I just felt that we were so secure on our corners, unlike when they had corners and we won the first ball. It's my favorite type of Liverpool goal. When our opponent has a corner, we win the corner, and you see 4, 5, 6 players just go.
Gone.
And when you see that routine work to a tree, it's my favorite type of Liverpool goal. But the flip side of that is we never looked like, when we had corners, ever being in that situation of being that vulnerable. So defensively, it looks like we're starting to get into this kind of shape now that we're all kind of confident in. So yeah, I also like
those. So that's how we going. Right, there's 5 minutes to go plus whatever out of time. It's game done now. It's no tension, man. No good. Oh god, you know, one lucky ricochet. You know, is you look in. You know, James Ward-Prowse doing a brilliant free kick in the last minute. You know, to put it on someone's head. You know, we've seen that happen many times for plenty of clubs. Getting the third goal like 5 minutes to go is just the perfect time. So you're going like, it's actually 10 minutes where they're going, all right, we don't want any more of this.
Well,
you don't want any more of this. We'll just see it out.
As soon as we got the third, Moyes made his last change and he brought Paqueta off. And I just wanted to mention about Paqueta.
He was brilliant.
He's the best player I've seen play at Anfield this season for an opposition side. He was ridiculously good on the ball, so strong on the ball. Just composure personified, brilliant vision, work rate. That middle of the park where they've lost Declan Rice and slotted him in there. He's just, I honestly think that West Ham are a stronger side without Declan Rice because of that move. because it drops Paqueta into a more responsible role in the middle of the park. And the more he's on the ball, the better they're going to be. He was if it was anyone else, and the result was any other way, he was the best player on the pitch, despite losing the game 3-1. I thought he was a one-man show. He was just you very rarely see games like that where an opposition player is that good and they lose. All credit to. I thought he was different class today for them. I thought he was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, if he comes out the other side of his sort of Damocles that's hanging over his head with those charges, if that all gets cleared up and he comes out of that innocent, there's another £100 million player there for Newcastle, and they look to have spent the Declan Rice money extremely well. Like, I thought Edson Alvarez had a decent game. I'm just going to quick double back to the third goal. I am furious about that goal because that's probably as close as Joe Gomez will ever get to scoring for Liverpool. He was right there. He was so close to toe poking it over the line.
If I've got to be honest, Joe Gomez is the only man I know that from that distance will probably still clear the bar. I think he's going to do a Rob Jones. He's going to do a Rob Jones. He's going to go his whole career and just doesn't score. I think it's one of those things.
It was just nice to see him actually being up in the mix on the corner, because for years he was the last man back. He wouldn't even bother going up for the corner. So it was just like you never could even see how he'd possibly get a chance to score. And there's been twice already this season where he's had a glimpse at it. So it's coming. I'm telling you, it's coming.
The ideal situation for Joe Gomez is Liverpool win the league like we did a couple of years ago at a canter, and we get a penalty last game of the season. And we'll go, come on, Joe, there's your chance. Just run up and crack it. Let's see and see what happens. That'd be, because to be honest, it'll go off when Joe Gomez scores a goal for Liverpool, because I think everyone wills him to do it. Because
I think Red Steve will materialize in the middle of the pitch, whether we're home or away, to celebrate that goal with Joe Gomez. So yeah, like you said, I mean, it's 3-1. The game is over. I think everybody on both teams and in the crowd realizes that this is a Liverpool victory. The final 10 minutes or so of the game, I would say, is now, okay, I know that we're not supposed to speak for all Liverpool fans, but I'm going to break convention. I'm going to speak for all Liverpool fans. Dominic Szoboszlai is amazing. That guy, he does not stop running. I mean, I have it down in the 88th minute. I have it down in the 91st minute. He's constant. He's everywhere. The engine on the guy, his speed, the power, the grace which he runs with. It's unbelievable. He is going to prove to be an absolute steal at 60 million. Like, it's just, when the game is over, when you can just walk around and wait for the time to expire, and he's busting absolute lung to be the first to pick up the loose ball when it doesn't really matter. It's got to make the coaching staff so happy, and I think every Liverpool fan is falling head over heels for Dominic Szoboszlai. Tell me I'm wrong.
He's going to score one of those ridiculous free kicks at some point, isn't he?
Mm-hmm. So he stops hitting the wall.
I'm so glad I'm not on that wall, because my word, that they go like a train now. Yeah, he's brilliant. I think Kev's in love with him as well, aren't you, Kev?
Yeah, some of his touches, and you see the flicks and the tricks and what have you, but they're flicks and tricks with a purpose. It's not for show. It's there was 2 or 3 back heels today. There was 2 of them where he was going away. He was away from goal, and then he flicks it back into the path of Mo Salah, and it's like, wow, how? Not the fact that you all had the audacity to try it. We all know he's got the audacity to try this stuff, but he's pulling it off. And there's so much to his game to like that. Yeah, he's brilliant in that attacking role, but he's so good as the 6 in with McAllister as well. Because after 10 minutes, we literally changed to 4-2-3-1 today.
Yeah,
and we played with that double 6 pretty much most of the game. The way the Joe Gomez thing started was, and he did it a few times. He drifts into the 6 when we're in our half, trying to build out from the back. And then he goes back to being a right back when we're in their half or in their final third. He drifts out to being a right back again. And he's transitioning straight back as a right back. So this inverted 6 that Trent was doing is different to what Joe Gomez is doing. And it's tailored to the player, and the player seems to be comfortable in doing it. he'd be my honourable mention today, Joe Gomez. I thought he was so good. He was so good today. You know.
So who would be your man of the match then, Kev? We're just about on the hour. Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. Yeah, man of the match. It's tough. I think I'd have to give it to Szoboszlai. Have to. He was just so good. Again, it's like his passing accuracy is a joke. And he's just a constant threat. He's everywhere. Those lung-bursting, pressing runs. You know, the willingness to run, the willingness to work, the nous to see. Here it comes. The nous to see danger. It's absolutely delighted with his performance. Honorable mention for Joe Gomez as well. Second goal was best goal I've seen this season. Lots to look forward to.
Super chat. We do get many of these. Darius. Next 2 games, massive chance to separate from the pack and enter the title race. Well, me and Kev will look at this. Obviously, we're 2 points off City at the moment. We're 2 points ahead of Arsenal and Spurs. We're a massive 7 points ahead of Newcastle and Man United already. And me and Kev were saying this time last year we were about 7-8 points off these guys already. I mean, when that pretty much killed any hope of top 4. So I mean, Chelsea were about 11 points ahead of them, which is just hilarious. But you know,
well, we can always laugh at Chelsea. Chris, who'd you like for your man in the match?
It gets to that point where it's just we're going to start saying who's man of the match other than Szoboszlai, isn't it? So I'm trying to think of something different just to be different.
Justin's made a great point there, you know.
What's that?
He says Allison for me. He kept us in the game early for us to go on and win it, and I mean it's another one of those. Yeah, with the exception of Allison sort of situation. So
I'll give it McAllister because I thought he grew into the game, and only he and he's one of the few players on the pitch who could pick that pass to Darwin, which was the crucial goal. The second goal kills them. So if it was the Szoboszlai, I'm not going to argue that, but just the difference, I'll say McAllister.
Yeah, and Bonkers LFC and Just Hannah are in the same vein of thinking as me. I would give it to Joel Matip. I thought he was fantastic. It was so solid at the back and didn't give them the outball that you knew that they were going to be looking for. The number of times he bossed Mikel Antonio at the halfway line when West Ham were hoiking the ball out of their end to try to relieve the pressure. I just thought it was fantastic, and it gave us the stability that we needed. Other than that, I mean, we got Fatback 4 coming up tonight, like 4 hours and 45 minutes, and Gav and the lads will be on to take a little broader view of what went on today, probably touch on some of the other games that happened this weekend, have a little laugh at Chelsea, probably.
Be rude not to, wouldn't it? Let's be fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's only right. But again, big thanks for Darius Hoyt for his super chat. After YouTube takes their cut from that super chat, that money will be going in to help out our charity sponsor, which is, of course, the 12 Dublin women GAA players running the Dublin City Marathon. It is the final week of September, so that marathon in October is coming up real quick. So if you can help us out, help them out, we've got the link in the description on YouTube, the social media pages for the LFC Daytrippers, whatever you're on, has the link for their GoFundMe page. Help us get them to their fundraising target. That would be absolutely fantastic. Please hit the like button if you're watching us live. Thank you for joining us live. We had about 200 people, and that's always good. If you're listening to it afterwards, rate it on your podcast things and share and review. But mostly, make sure you're back in here in the chat and for the 10 o'clock Irish time start for the Fatback 4, because I imagine whoever Gav rounds up to be on the show tonight are going to be in rather high spirits. So thanks to Chris. Thanks to Kev for joining me. Anything else before we get out of here, gents?
Nope. All good.
No,
we'll go and have a few cans now and enjoy the rest of the Sunday.
That's right. And hopefully we can watch the Green Bay Packers put the absolute shoes to the New Orleans Saints as the Red Zone gets started in about 45 minutes here. But other than that, thanks everybody for joining us. This was our 7th full-time Reds of the season. We'll see you guys again for another one on Thursday. From Matt and the gang, see you all later. Bye-bye.